The next question from this person is, how would you overall describe the characteristics of Japanese people? Ooh, come closer, guys, come closer. So if I'm being honest, without any reservations, I'm not trying to be biased, first of all, what would be a no-brainer for me? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I still have a lot of new people on the channel. Thank you guys for following me. Thank you for subscribing. So if you're new here, I am Akuna, a Nigerian living and studying in Japan. And to all my old subscribers, thank you so much for being back here. I really appreciate it and I do not take it for granted. So what I do on this channel, I just talk about my life experiences in Japan, my journey so far, things about Japan and all that. And if you have not subscribed, I don't know what to say again. Please subscribe. Thank you. So guys, let's get into it. So I think 2 weeks ago I asked you guys to send me questions you'd like me to answer, and thank you guys for responding. Sorry this video didn't go up last week like I had planned. I'm under the weather. My voice is not smooth, I caught cold and all that, so I'm just on the path to recovery. So let's get into it, guys. The first question says, like, how much will it cost me to relocate myself and my family, husband and wife with 2 children, to Japan? So this question is a bit dicey. I mean, there is no straight answer to that because everything depends on how prudent you are and the city you're moving to. But I'll give you like a general overview. So first of all, when I first moved to Japan, on the website you would find 80,000 yen is the average for people living in Tohoku, and that's the region where I live in. That's the northeastern region of Japan. So 80,000 yen per adult. And then for children, or for dependents rather, you have to consider half of that money for each dependent. So let's say if I'm the major person, so 80,000 yen for me, and then I came with my baby, then 40,000 yen for her. So that's about 120,000 yen per month. This is the monthly budget if you are moving to a place like Tohoku region. But if we flip this and you're moving to a place like Tokyo, that wouldn't do you. You'll be looking at 110,000, 108,000 for the sponsor, and then half of that price as well for the younger person. So here you're looking at about 150,000 yen, 152,000 yen per month. And this is also dependent on how prudent you are. So don't quote me on this, but yeah, mostly this is like the average you're going to spend as at then. But now, since things have changed, there's been a slight inflation, although Japan is still among the countries with the lowest inflation. We just have about 1.6% inflation over the course of these years. So now you're looking at around 90,000 yen for where I live, unlike 80,000 yen 4 years ago when I moved here. So now we're looking at 90,000 yen plus extra 45,000 yen for each dependent. So if you're moving to a place like the Tohoku region, you're looking at about, let's say, if you have 3 dependents, so 3 dependents will be 135,000 yen, then you add it to your 90,000 yen, so that's roughly 225,000 yen. So when you try converting this money to naira, sometimes it comes off as, oh, okay, it's very cheap, you can actually do it. But the problem is, nobody gives you the official rate. Like if you're going to move to Japan today, you have to convert your naira to dollar first, and we all know how that works. From dollar then to yen. So but if you were able to do like a direct conversion, it's much fairer converting directly because you're having just about 3 naira to 1 yen. But now doing the whole to dollar to yen, it's crazy, guys, and it's really, really expensive most times. So that's that for that. There is no like set amount, but if you're looking at moving to a cheaper place, and Tohoku region is actually among the most cheaper places to live in. So I'm telling you it costs about 90,000 yen for the sponsor, and then 45,000 yen each for your dependents. That is if you're prudent enough and all other factors inclusive, because the school your kids will go to will also determine how you use the utilities, will also determine how you eat, if you cook at home, if you eat outside, and all that, transportation. So all these things don't have a set price, but on the average this should somehow do you. Then the next question is there a job available for one to do in Japan that will fetch good money? I don't want to come to Japan through study visa. With emphasis on good money. Okay, I don't know the one that gives good and bad money though, but there are other pathways aside study visa. Guys, I hope my voice is not like very crooked right now, but I just have to make this video. But yeah, there are other pathways aside study visa. We have like the English teaching program, and this is the most, guys, I kid you not, this is the most common pathway for foreigners to move to Japan. And I mean, a whole lot of Americans are here through that pathway. So this is like where you have some programs like the JET program. They have recruitment openings on their website. You apply. If you're lucky, They bring you here, take care of your visa and all that, then you come and start the job and start teaching. You have the ALT, assistant language teachers, also in line with English. This is also very common. I know a lot of people doing that. And then you have other pathways like the business visa and startup pathway. In this case, you need about 5 million yen in your account to show that you want to start up a business, at least 5 million yen to start up a business in Japan and prove to them that this business is worth doing in Japan and all that. Then you also have like the skilled worker visa. So this is actually a new thing in Japan. It started about 3-4 years ago. So for some years now, Japan has been battling serious decline in population. So this is inevitably leading to shortage of labor. They need people to do work in some sectors like agriculture, construction sector, hospitality, elderly care, and the rest of it. So the government actually puts up these advertisements and then invite people to apply, and if you're lucky, they bring you here and they pay you, and whatever it is that is on your contract, you work according to the stipulated time and all that. Then you have visa for artists, like people who have skills in photography, in dancing, musicians, and all that. Yeah, they actually have visa for artists, so you have to prove that yes, you can do this and all that, necessary certifications, evidence, and things like that. So these are other pathways that you can come to Japan through, but the most common, I kid you not, is the English teaching program. So where people come to teach Japanese kids and elderly English, because Japan, many people do not speak English. Japanese is the official language, and now people are trying to internationalize, so they're looking at studying English and all that. So the next question, it says, do you consider Japan a highly developed and advanced country? Wow, of course I do. Japan is highly developed and highly advanced. I mean, there is no debate on that. So yes, I consider Japan to be very, 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 very developed and highly advanced. And then the question continues, second part, how would you personally rate Japan? Oh, okay, I'll take this in bits. How would you personally rate Japan from culture to technology, architecture, food, local products, scenery and landscape, standard of living, quality of life, on a scale level of 1 to 10? This is very interesting. So let me just, I'm going to be honest with you guys, like very honest, guys. So for culture, this is one place I highly respect in Japanese. I mean, how they've managed to balance these things, like having this highly advanced technology and then still keeping the culture and trying not to derail or follow trends and all that. They're trying to maintain authenticity despite everything that is going on in the world right now. So from culture, I'll give them 7. Yeah, they're doing very well. Technology, 12 over 10. If that makes sense. Architecture, this is their stylish roof. Oh, I love it. I mean, modern buildings are very simple to me. I mean, modern buildings are very simple. And this is because most Japanese live a very simple life. They have this simplistic way of doing things. So I would say, with regards to architecture, if you're taking me back to the 1700s, 1500s, 1800s, I'll give the architecture 9 over 10. I just like that whole roof design. And this is common in Asia. I don't know who copied who, but yeah, it's common in Asia, especially Japan, China, Korea, from the movies I've watched. So I would say architecture 9 over 10. I mean, I really give it to them with that. But for the modern buildings, the architecture is just there, I would say. Yeah, I think if you compare the architecture now and the architecture in Nigeria, based on my taste, I would say Nigeria has a higher rank in architecture for the modern buildings. But if you take it back to the olden days, Japan has it. But for things like maybe stadiums, of course, we're not competing. Japan takes the lead there. Stadiums, high-rise buildings, towers are basically towers, not so much design, just the whole slender tall buildings. But yeah, I think they really did well in architecture back in the days, than what I'm seeing now. Then for food, guys, if you don't want me to be biased with this my Nigerian palate, oh god, people don't want me to be biased, but let's see. Okay, for food, I've been in Japan for 4 years, so but their food still tastes a bit bland to me, but that's because I grew up in an environment where our food is usually spicy and hot and all that. So, and we have this whole wide range of flavors. I can't say I've explored Japanese food that much, but to an extent, I've tried. I mean, since 2021, I didn't have a choice. I've tried exploring this food, and I would say I'll give it a 6 over 10. But there's this thing that said, young, another person's young. The Japanese, of course, they enjoy their food, and I respect them for that, just the way I enjoy mine, and they will be like, maybe when they eat mine. So I try to respect people's culture and food and all that. So I'll say 6/10, but I think they're doing well. But one thing I like about Japanese food is the balancing. Like every meal you purchase, whether from the convenience store or from where, there's always this veggies, fruits, protein, carbohydrates, everything goes round, vitamins and minerals. Like there's this balanced diet. Anytime I forget the classes of food, I just go to the convenience store and I look at the food. I'm like, okay, yeah, everything is here except water. So yes, I give it to them when it comes to balancing meals. So if that's about balancing meals, balancing nutrients in food, I'll give them 20/10, guys. They really do well with that. I mean, I think I've said this in one of my videos when I had my baby. So you spend some time in the hospital for new moms, 7 days, for old moms 5 days. So I spent 5 days, and I think that's one thing I missed after I left the hospital. The variety, it made me feel like, oh, these guys are really looking out for you, like really thinking about your recovery, things that will help you recover quickly and balance all the nutrients you've lost. They were really thoughtful, and it was even fun when I realized that my meal differed from other people's meal. Like everyone's meal was different. It depends on your need. If you had a CS, this is best for you. If you had this, if you had that, all those. If you had maybe low iron during your antenatal days and they've monitored your progress so far, they give you things that are much more higher in iron. So I think the thoughtfulness, it was really something I really admired. And if ever I have to maybe establish a hospital in Nigeria, this is one thing or consult for a hospital, I'm definitely replicating this. It's very important, guys. So yeah, for balancing nutrients, 20/10, but for just food generally, I would say 6/10. Then the next one, local products, I give it to them. So Japan is this country that grows its economy. When I came here, I used to say, yeah, Japan is self-sufficient, but yeah, with the Ukraine war and everything, you can see no country is entirely self-sufficient. But I think Japan really pays attention to growing the economy locally. They have their products, so they try to grow the economy. Like everything, literally everything is made within, or I don't know how to put it, like within Japan. So I like that they do that. They don't really patronize foreign products like that, except for things like phone. Oh, the Apple iPhones, people really do buy that a lot. And I'm sure that if Apple or iPhone was a Japanese product, guys, by now, I'm sure nobody else will be using that product. So yeah, they really patronize their products, helping the economy to grow. I mean, this is what we're talking about, your GDP and all that. They really do well with regards to growing their economy very well by buying local products. Buy Japan, stay in Japan, eat Japan, grow Japan. So yeah, they really do well with regards to that. And their products, of course, are very qualitative. I mean, even while growing up, my parents used to say, especially my dad, Japan this, Japan that, Japan the other one, Japan yesterday, Japan tomorrow. Even though he mentioned that back in the days while he was growing up, it wasn't that way. Things from here weren't as qualitative, but they've refurbished and grown, and now they are superior, and their products are over the top when it comes to standard. Like people, it's funny when people think because I'm living in Japan I should be able to just buy all the electronics and send home. I don't think it would be that easy, but it's actually expensive because of the quality. So even those people in Japan, I mean, it's not even that cheap to them. So it's, except maybe they make the products elsewhere where cost of labor is cheaper, then that's what they can send for commercial use. But for what they use in Japan, made in Japan for Japan, guys, it's expensive, but it's qualitative. I remember telling my husband that we've never bought or replaced batteries, like the gas cooker battery, the lamps and all that. We never replaced their batteries, and this is like 4 whole years. Okay, since I moved to this apartment, because in my former apartment was a dormitory, so everything was already lit when I came. But when I moved to this apartment, yeah, almost 3 years ago now, we've never replaced any batteries. That's how qualitative things are. Things are very, and of course, you're turning on your lamps every day, your light is on, you're using the gas cooker every day. At least for me, I'm using the gas cooker every day. So I really appreciate when it comes to in terms of quality, their products are really. So standard of living. Standard of living. I would say on the average, standard of living in Japan is good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I would say it's very good. And if you ask me to rate, it would be an 8/10. A 9/10. Yeah. I mean, Japan is peaceful. Japan is everything is judged based on your income. Sometimes it can be very tight and complicated, because if you earn well last year and this year something happens, of course your this year will be judged based on your last year's income. But at least it makes sense that nobody's cheating anybody. So there's like a balance. The air we breathe is very fresh. I mean, the air in Japan is very good. Standard of living, guys, is very good. So I think I'll give it to Japan. There'll be a little downsides and some things, but not really downside. Yeah, so Japan is good with regards to that. Then scenery and landscape. Oh my god, Japan is an island, so even if you're viewing it from Mars, you're looking onto the Earth. The scenery is beautiful. That might be, guys, but yeah, the scenery of Japan is beautiful. The landscape is beautiful. I mean, the tiny islands here and there, it's really nice. I think I've never really taken a note of that until I saw a documentary, covering Japan, and yeah, it looked really nice. Japan has beautiful scenery, beautiful landscape. And have you been to Okinawa? Go visit that place if you're ever in Japan. I've not been there though. But Okinawa is very beautiful. Okinawa is really beautiful. And if you go to places like the local real Gongongon Japan traditional setting, like in Kyoto and the rest of it, oh my god, those places are beautiful. Yeah, so Japan is actually very beautiful. Scenery and landscape, 25/10. The person that asks this question will be like, what are you saying? What's all these big numbers over 10? But yeah, just to show you how beautiful it is. And then the next question from this person is, how would you overall describe the characteristics of Japanese people? Ooh, come closer, guys, come closer. So if I'm being honest, without any reservations, I'm not trying to be biased, first of all, what would be like a no-brainer for me would be the politeness. People are very polite here, very polite to the core, and that's a very good thing. But it also makes them very laid back, not very opinionated. And of course, nobody likes people being aggressive or being all over in your business, but sometimes there should be a balance. I think Japanese people are too quiet on the spectrum. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the most quiet, 10 being the most noisy, Japan and Japanese people are definitely between 1 to 3. So yeah, I think that whole thing, somehow I think there should be a balance to it. Most and I mean over 90% of Japanese are very quiet. So that's the very first thing that comes to mind when you talk about characteristics of Japanese people. But I like also how they have this sense of responsibility. I think I said this in my video before. Like, they think about the next person, not just about themselves. So like, you don't mess up the place because that this is not healthy for the next person. It's not healthy for our environment. So everywhere is sparkling, everywhere is clean, and then they're always willing to help. Most of the times, guys, I kid you not, they are always willing to help. I remember, I think I've mentioned this before in one of my videos. I remember losing my way one time. The map was carrying me to where I don't know. And then I stopped one Japanese. She didn't understand my English. I wasn't speaking good Japanese then. And then she stopped the next person, and then they tried to stop the next person, and they kept just trying to help. So they are really very helpful. They're very kind. So they're very kind. I mean, I've met very kind people in Japan. So yeah, I give it to them. They're polite, kind, and then sense of responsibility, and they respect the rules. This COVID thing, in the whole wide world, I think Japan is the only ones wearing nose masks. They have this respectfulness or respect for rule of law. So anything that has been stated in the law, even though I think last summer Japan was like, you can take off your masks, but of course if you have some symptoms you should always wear your mask, because people were dying of heat stroke and all that. But still, guys, people were still masking up to the full, like 2-3 masks. So and also mask is like a uniform in Japan even before now. I remember when I came, once it's November, December, people start masking up because of influenza and the rest of it. So their respect for rule of law, I give it to them. And then still on this person, if you have 3 or more words to describe Japan, what would it be? Wow, I have never really thought of this, but I'll be like, their ethics is top notch. Once a Japanese tells you this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to be, down to the end, from the start to the finish. They don't change, they keep to it, and they give you the best. So their ethics, I mean, this trickles down from the tiniest things on earth to the biggest tasks. their work ethics and life ethics in general is, most of it is very good, like very good. I give it 10. Two more words, guys. I don't know. They are kind, okay? They are kind, and they are accommodating. Yeah, I would say accommodating. They are quite accommodating compared to most stories I've heard of other places. They are very accommodating, so I'll give it to them. Ethics, top notch, kind, and accommodating. Okay, the next question. Hi Akunna, I'm glad you're doing the Q&A. First one, where do you get your Nigerian food from? Do you order or do you go to stores? This person, you don't need to tell me you're Nigerian. You're Nigerian. So yes. Thank you for this question. It's very important. Food is very important for our well-being. So yeah, where do I get my Nigerian food? I actually order and I go to stores. So the good thing is we have similar tastes to some Asian countries. Asian countries like Pakistan, Indonesia, we have similar tastes to them. So we have halal stores across Japan. And I even found out it's like very popular in other places too, like in Europe and in America and all that. So halal stores sell some things that are similar to our taste, like spices and some kind of things that are very similar. I actually didn't know we had such similar tastes before now. So yeah, we go to halal stores, mostly halal stores. I remember the first time I saw what we call Indomie Nigeria, that's noodles. And then I saw Indomie brand, but this was, I think it was made in Pakistan with Pakistani writing, but I saw Indomie, I just bought it. And I was really happy I actually got it, because I've been eating it since then, even though Japan is home of noodles. But you know, Japan noodles is a bit different, and the way they cook it and all those things is a bit different. So halal stores. And then yes, I also order from halal stores. So I found out that some stores are cheaper. So this is like, I'm going to give out this advice. I'm not advertising for anybody, but if you just moved to Japan or you've been in Japan, you think you've been buying things expensive, I think you should check out the stores. Shinjuku Halal Store is in Tokyo. They have a website, Shinjuku Halal Store. I'll try to write it here or leave it in the description box. And then you also check Janet Halal Stores, also in Tokyo. So I order from them, and then they send it to me the next day, like literally the next day. If you order maybe before 2 or 3 p.m, but if you order maybe later in the day, they'll send it 2 days later, depending on your location. So yeah, these two stores, I've really found that things are quite cheap there. I mean, I even saw one that is even selling Enugu oil. Hey, I'm an Enugu girl, so I mean, I saw MN Enugu. I was really impressed. Our Nigerian people are doing things, but this is not a store owned by Nigerian, but of course they get products from different people. I mean, they sell Oporoko, they sell literally many things, and then you have people, Nigerians, who do small businesses in their homes. So this is, I know somebody that knows somebody kind of thing. Not really like big stores, so you have them selling things. I mean, last year I drank Maltina Guinness. Is it Maltina? It was Maltina Guinness. Last year I drank Malta Guinness and I drank Maltina. So this is a Nigerian who has it in her house and she's selling it and all that. So yeah, people do it in the corner of their homes. Like if you want things like crayfish, like our own crayfish, I usually buy from a Nigerian, but other things I can buy from the halal stores, because I think they are much cheaper in halal stores than buying from Nigerians. Trust me guys, it's very expensive buying from Nigerians in their houses, because I won't even blame them, since it's not a big scale kind of thing, paying to bring it in, and also the cost of these things in Nigeria are not cheap. So I just find, if like Ghana, yeah, like when it has to do with something like oil, like palm fruit sauce for making the apple stew, or banga soup, so as some people call it, I also buy like Ghanaian products because they're very similar, so I don't even find the difference that much or things like that. So I just buy from other African countries that have similar things, and then I cook, except for yam. The last yam I tried from another country, I'm not called that country, and the yam was not yamming at all. So I strongly advise that you buy Nigerian yam if you're from Nigeria, if you want the taste to be Nigerian in. So yeah, then yeah, okay, this is similar. Are there African food stores at every prefecture? I wouldn't say yes to this, not so much, but you can still find. But in places like Tokyo, Chiba, Kanto area, you can find African stores, especially Ghanaians. They do business here, guys. The Ghanaians have really saved lives with the business they do here. Yes, so yes, you can find it. I mean, I even went to one store and I saw palm wine. Hey God, that my trip to Saitama last year, I was really considering relocating. No, it was that bad, guys. So yes, you can actually find these things in some of these stores. Then the next question is, hi Akonna, how far? I want to ask these few questions. If one completes their studies How easy or difficult is it to stay back and have a working visa? Okay, first of all, I would like to put a disclaimer here. I'm not an immigration or educational consultant, but I'm going to try to be as real as possible. So let's get into it. How easy or difficult is it to stay back and have a working visa? I can't say on the scale of 1 to 10 or give any rating, but judging from the people I know, not so many people have actually stayed back. Most people have gone back to their countries or gone to other countries, but those that have stayed back, I think it depends on what you studied and then the jobs available for you. So some people I know that studied maybe courses in the tech area have actually gotten jobs and they're doing very well, because of course Japan is technologically advanced. And then other people have maybe studied something else and then switched to English teaching. So yeah, that's also a moving market here, teaching English language. Then other people, not so much. I mean, for Nigerians or foreign Africans that I've had very close relationship with. So it's usually those in the IT that have stayed back, or those that switched to teaching English language. Most other people have really gone back. That's what I would say. So I can't say it's easy to stay back, and I can't say it's difficult to stay back as well. I think it all depends on you and planning. So the good thing about Japan is that you start to apply for jobs a year before you graduate. Like if you're going to graduate next April, this is February, you start now to search for jobs. And trust me, when you get a job, they will keep it for you till next April. So this is a very good thing. I think I like that about Japan. The employment or job searching time is very wide. So you have from now till search until then. So most people, if you begin to search earlier, maybe 6 months or 5 months graduation, you realize you haven't found what you want, you can start making plans, or you can see if switching a career would work for you. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I really have no idea, but I can't say it's easy, I can't say it's difficult. And then still this person, do you think foreigners, precisely African nationals, would be interested to be Japanese nationals? I hear after 5 years you can apply for a passport. All the best in your studies. Thank you for wishing me all the best. I really need all the good luck in my studies. Saying, do I think others are interested? I mean, I'm not in their minds. I can't say for sure, but I think it's not really that easy. This whole 5 years thing you said about getting a passport, it's official. It's on the website, but there are many things, there are many criteria, of course, just like everywhere. I mean, naturalizing in a country shouldn't be that easy, shouldn't be a walk in the park. I totally get it, but Japan is not that easy to just naturalize. And I mean, even thinking about it now, I can count how many Africans I know that have permanent residency here in Japan, let alone having a passport. I mean, Japan is the strongest passport in the world. You can visit over 130 countries with their passports. I mean, they've held this position for over 3 to 4 years now. So having that passport, I mean, it shouldn't be a walk in the park. Japanese level wise, the interviews you will go to, you have to be really grounded. You have to prove. And then let me put this out here. People don't know this, but once you naturalize in Japan, once you get that passport, you have to denounce whatever nationality you already had. Like as a Nigerian, if I get a Japanese passport, I have to denounce being a Nigerian. I mean, I'm not sure if that's what I want to do actually. Nigeria is my country, so this is very important to keep in mind. If you're ever going to be a Japanese citizen, you have to denounce and stop using your other passports. And this is serious, guys. You can't have dual nationality if you are Japanese. People think this is not serious. Okay, let me shock you guys. Maybe not a shock, but it's out there online. Naomi Osaka, she's a tennis player, and I mean on the top, like the rank of Serena, but of course Serena is the heroine. She's been there for years, but I mean almost in that league. She had this issue, I think 3-4 years ago, when she came to the limelight. She wanted to play at the Australian Open, and then she wanted to represent Japan, but her dad is American, her mom is Japanese. So they said you cannot represent Japan unless you denounce your American citizenship, and she denounced it. So now she's representing Japan as a Japanese and will not have any ties to the American, apart from, yes, she's biologically inclined to be half American, but she's not going to be using the American passport for anything. And this is serious, guys. I mean, if you flaunt that rule, there are very grave consequences. So you don't want to flaunt the rule. I also know there was a case in court about 2-3 years ago, very interesting case. So there are these Japanese that moved to Europe. settled in Europe over time, got their passports, and then when coming back to Japan or something with their Japanese passports, something happened or something in that line, they were not allowed in because they expected to have this smooth entry, and there was this whole case of, no, you're not a Japanese. I mean, we are people who are born in Japan, both parents Japan and all that. So that case was in court, but of course the Japanese government won the case because it's clearly there in the constitution. You cannot have dual nationality. It doesn't matter. Whatever. If you needed to get a passport over there, denounce your Japanese nationality. I think it has to do with taxing and voting and all that. So Japan don't have time for all this long story. So it's either you're Japanese or you're not. So that's it, guys. So for that passport thing and Africans wanting to stay back, I can't really say it's that easy or it's that difficult. It all depends. I mean, what works for one might not work for the other. Okay, the next question. Hi, Akona, I want to do a master's in Japan. Apart from MEX scholarship, is there other organization that offers full funded scholarship, or do I have to apply, pay for the first semester and hope to get nominated apart from applying for school bursary? It's interesting because I kind of have experience on both sides. I've said it many times. I came to Japan as a self-funded student and now I'm receiving stipends. So yes, there are other scholarships apart from MEX. You know, MEX is like the cocoa. MEX is like this all-round, all-encompassing. So it takes the lead most times. So people think it's only MEX. No, it's not only MEX. You have other scholarships like the JASO scholarship and the JSPS scholarship. And JASO scholarship is very good too. But of course, the stipends that it pays is not usually as high as MEX scholarship. And then their packages are not, you know, that enticing. So some scholarship will only pay you stipends. They don't cover your transportation from your country to Japan. They don't cover your school fees, unlike MEX that pays your fees and all that. And then, but they just pay you stipend. So from your stipend, you pay your fees. And some stipends might not be that much, but at least they will support your living costs. And then for JSPS is like a very big deal. But JSPS is usually for doctoral students and postdoc students. So yeah, if you're coming as a master's or an undergraduate, there's no JSPS for you. JSPS is a very big deal. I mean, even for us here in Japan, JSPS is a big deal. They advise you to apply for JSPS. I mean, that's how big deal it is. Even MEX students are advised to apply for JSPS. So yeah, JSPS is a very big deal. So if you're going into PhD or you finish PhD, you're going into postdoc, check out JSPS. Their benefits is very good, and the benefits is quite similar to MEX. They pay your fees, do this, give you stipend. I mean, very competitive stipend, like someone who's already working. So the next question. Okay, thanks for the Q&A. I would love to ask you that if you had to go back in time, would you have chosen to leave Nigeria at all? Then also, would it still be Japan, or would you have considered another location? This is a very interesting question. If I had to go back in time, would I have still chosen to leave Nigeria at all? To be honest, to be very, very honest, I wouldn't have left maybe at the time I left. I would have left maybe a bit later. And would it still be Japan? Maybe or maybe not, guys. Maybe or maybe not. And I have my reasons for that. So let's just leave it at that. It may or may not be Japan, but my experiences in Japan have actually shaped me, and trust me, they've really boosted and taken me ahead of where I used to be. I'm not going to discountenance that or downplay the role Japan has played in my life. I'm not where I used to be, and even though I'm not where I want to be yet, I have come a very long way. So I'm really grateful for being in Japan. The experience has been very, very instrumental to who I am and who I'm becoming in the nearest future. So Japan will always have a place in my heart, no matter what. But considering what I would have made here my first base, I'm not sure, and I can't say no, never say never. I may have still landed in Japan somehow, but I'm happy I'm here. But also, I'm also still looking at exploring other locations, you know, in the nearest future. But also, don't forget, Nigeria is home to me. Nigeria will always be home. So I also look forward to whatever it is I have gathered or gained elsewhere, to implementing it and giving it back to my community back in Nigeria. So yeah, Nigeria is home despite everything. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. This is the end of it. So don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section below, and if there is any content you would like me to make about Japan, please let me know. Give me ideas what you would like me to make. I'm looking at making this year, you know, making it a content tier to an extent. So guys, don't forget to leave your comments and questions below. I really look forward to reading them. So guys, thank you so much for sending your questions. I look forward to doing this some other time. Thank you, and don't forget to check out my other videos. I've done a lot of videos and I'm sure you'll find them interesting. I mean, from live in Japan, studying in Japan, and studying abroad. I mean, in other countries, from America to France to UK. Don't forget to check them out. And if you're in Nigeria, check out the PTDF scholarships. I think it's still ongoing. See if you can apply for it if you're interested in moving abroad. People always forget this local scholarship for students. So, and you know, some scholarships are also like country specific. They will say, okay, for African students, or for West African students, or for Nigerian students. So don't always focus on just these big ones. You can also check out others. So guys, enough of my preaching. Enough of the talks, guys. So stay safe, be well. Thank you for always stopping by. I really appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed, I don't know what to say again, please subscribe. Thank you. Catch you.